Thanks for joining us. This is Galaxy Television News. Our top stories. President Buhari meets members of the Nigerian Medical Association, urging them and others contemplating strikes to opt for settlement of issues by negotiation. Appeal Court orders Rivers State government to refrain from any action giving effect to the judgment of an August 9, empowering it to collect value-added and personal income tax. And outside Nigeria, a new government has been announced in Lebanon over a year after the previous administration quit following the devastating Beirut port explosion. Those are our top stories. Details in just a moment. Once again, thanks for joining us on Galaxy Television News for this time. I'm Solomon Offem. President Muhammadu Buhari Friday in Abuja called on health workers to return to their duty post, urging others contemplating strikes to opt for settlement of issues by negotiation, no matter how long it takes. Receiving members of the National Medical Association at the State House, the president noted that the lives of citizens that could be lost or damaged when doctors withdraw their services are precious enough to be worth opting for peaceful resolution of differences. Correspondent to Nabuchi Nabuchi sent in this report.
The meeting with NMA was to seek ways of resolving industrial issues that lead to strikes among health workers. President Muhammadu Buhari, who addressed the medical workers, assured that all outstanding benefits owed medical doctors will be cleared after verifications, noting that embarking on industrial action at a critical health period for the country and citizens was not a good option. President Buhari said the outstanding issue of an establishment circular issued by the head of service removing house officers and NYSC doctors from scheme of service had an addendum circular from the National Salaries and Wages Commission to clarify that they will continue to earn the wages attached to them on their present wage structure. The president had requested that the agreement reached in the meetings of 20th and 21st August captured in the MOU be religiously implemented. To further improve the health sector, the president said budgetary allocations had been increased and the Health Sector Reform Committee under the chairmanship of the Vice President had been commissioned to identify and address weaknesses in the health system and align with the global best practices that raise public confidence.
I also approved the Basic Health Care Provision Fund to support the development of primary health care of the grassroots level towards achieving universal health coverage and the sustainable development goals. Very recently, I have also commissioned a health sector reform committee under the chairmanship of the Vice President to identify and address weaknesses in our health system and align with global best practices that raise public confidence. We are also supporting initiatives to expand health insurance coverage and bring more resources to health financing.
President Buhari noted that Nigeria's source of revenue over many years was dwindling with a rising population, but commended the positive role Nigerian Medical Association has been playing as the apex professional medical association in Nigeria, especially with regard to the ongoing industrial action. In his remark, Minister of Health Dr. Osage Enahere said the NMA had been playing a critical role in development of the health sector, particularly in tackling pandemics, participating in policy formulation, while the president of NMA, Professor Innocent Oja, thanked the president for the appointment of members into strategic positions in government, assent to the Medical Residency Act and immunization coverage. Oja said the association was concerned with the industrial action embarked upon by doctors and had been doing its best to alleviate the sufferings of patients across the country while appealing for an urgent resolution.
Your keen interest in immunization and improvement of immunization coverage in the country and overall turnaround of some of the nation's health facilities, the saving 1 Million Life project, the empowerment of different health agencies and parastatals are worthy of mention.
The Nemo President thanked President Buhari for takeoff grant for First University of Health Sciences in Otubo, Benue State, Azare, Bauchi State, and Ela Oragun in Osun State. Oja suggested an appropriate funding model for the new institutions while assuring the President of the continuous support of members of the association to improve health in the country. From the Presidential Villa in Abuja, I am Nabuchi Oken Nabuchi, reporting for Galaxy Television News.
The appeal court sitting in Abuja has ordered the Rivers State government to refrain from any acts giving effect to the judgment of August 9, empowering it to collect value-added and personal income tax. A three-member panel headed by Justice Haruna Shamani, which the order also directed that the tax law passed by Rivers State House of Assembly and assented to by Governor Nyesom Wike must not be implemented. The appellate court held that since parties have submitted themselves to the authority of the court for adjudication of the matter, they must not be seen as doing anything to the contrary. In specific terms, the court granted that the FIR
the main injunction application is still pending, but we are excited that the court have decided in its wisdom to preserve the rest, so that it doesn't force a situation of complete hopelessness on the part of the court. And at least it will stabilize the economy, to stabilize the nation.
The High Court in Port Harcourt had given some far-reaching judgments. Now we have approached this court to say, stop the effect of that judgment until you hear our appeal. Unfortunately, we could not argue that today. Now, the issue is this. Because our application has not been heard, should the court allow Rivers State to start collecting tax, even though we are telling this court to say, hold on?
Galaxy's Godfrey Shimgo report that the matter has been slated for September 16 for hearing of motion by Lagos State to join as interested party in the appeal. FIRS in an appeal is praying the appeal courts to set aside the judgment of a Rivers State High Court which granted power to the state to collect value-added tax, VAT, and personal income tax. The tax collection agency is also asking the appellate courts to stay the execution of Rivers' judgment. The Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has signed into law the State Value-Added Tax Bill. The State Commissioner for Information and Strategy, Gbenga Motosho, in a statement on Friday, said the governor signed the bill after returning from an official trip. The statement partly reads that the governor signed a bill for a law to impose and charge VAT on certain goods and services at about 11:45 a.m. Friday, after returning from an official trip to Abuja. By this act, the bill has now become a law. Away from VAT matters now, the FCT Police Command has arrested and paraded 26 persons suspected to be kidnappers, car snatchers, cultists, and armed robbers along Buari, Kwale, Mabushi, and Giri axis. Parading the suspect in Abuja Friday, Commissioner of Police FCT Command Sunday Babajide said in line with global standard, the command has continued to improve upon its community policing strategies by regularly engaging the community to provide actionable intelligence for proactive policing within the Federal Capital Territory. Sounding a note of warning to criminal elements, Commissioner Babaji appealed to residents to be more security cautious and provide timely information in case of emergency.
In this regard, the command has massively deployed personnel to flash points in and around the FCT. As a follow-up to this, we have intensified vehicular and foot patrols, diligent stop and search operations, intelligence-based crime fighting strategies, and constant raids on black spots, especially drug spots. Furthermore, in line with the global standard shift in policing, the command has continued to improve upon its community policing strategies, by regularly engaging the community to provide actionable intelligence for proactive policing within the Federal Capital Territory.
Among the suspects is Bola Adebola, 45 years old, who was arrested for obtaining money under false pretense along Area 1 axis. He said he poses as a beggar and under the guise of a fortune teller, and for defrauding his victim the sum of 800,000 naira. Another syndicate led by one Dada Hassan, 55 years, was also arrested in possession of bags of dried leaves suspected to be Indian hemp along Giri axis.
The rest me say I do fake juju for the woman. Say why are they lie for her to they collect money for her? The woman, the Augustine Ogogwa. I say I do say I reject it. I collect money for her. Say I collect money for her. Say I should tell her. Say he tell me say I should let her to divide in wife, in second wife when your husband they marry. Say I should divide that. Say in that in wife no they take care of it.
As we are 5 in number, so they run. As most of the afraid and for ground, they can't run. See police come. Now they run. They can't run lead me. Now me they come meet and I lay 5 bags my own for side. The remaining one and the rest for home.
The command said the suspect will be arraigned in court upon conclusion of investigation. Following the alleged theft of a pistol of a police officer at Digoke Atilade by 29-year-old woman Jennifer Maduke, who spent 3 days in a detention facility at the Denton Police Station, Ebute Meta, Lagos, where she was allegedly tortured to confess to the crime of stealing the service pistol. The Lagos State Police Public Relations Officer Adekunle Adishebutu released a statement revealing that the Lagos State Police Command is not oblivious of the reported case of theft of service pistol against one Jennifer Maduke, female, and the allegation of sex in the office against DPO Denton Police Division, CSP Adegoke Atilade, as published by a news daily. In the interest of fairness and justice, the Commissioner of Police, CP Akim Udumosun, has ordered an independent, thorough, and unbiased investigation into the case. Members of the public are hereby assured that appropriate actions will be taken against anyone found culpable at the conclusion of the ongoing investigation, such that at the end, justice would have been served. Meanwhile, the Commissioner of Police has directed immediate redeployment of the officer in the eye of the storm so as to pave the way for diligent and unbiased investigation. Still ahead on Galaxy Television News, Imo State Police Command arrest fake evangelist rescuing kidnapped victim with a 5-month-old pregnancy. We'll bring you details of that and more when we come back from our break. Stay with us. It is good to have you back. This is Galaxy Television News. For more updates and latest news, visit our website, galaxytvonline.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Galaxy TV Nigeria. You can follow and interact with us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Galaxy TV. Don't forget to follow and tag us on our Instagram page at Official Galaxy TV. You can also avail our high brightness feature via WhatsApp if you are breaking news around you. Simplify us up by sending short codes. Galaxy Television News, the Imo State Command's Tactical Unit received information that one Amarachi Okechukwu Dioku, a female, aged 18 years, of Umuduru Oloku Ubai Fakala in Ubaitoli local government area of Imo State, who was earlier reported missing by her parents, was sighted in the premises of a church located in an isolated area along MCC Urata Road in the Owerri North local government area of Imo State. The Commissioner of Police Imo State Command CP Rabiu Hosseini immediately dispatched the command's anti-kidnapping unit, who mobilized, stormed and cordoned the church Jesus Life Assembly located at School Garden Urata in Owerri North local government area of Imo State, where the prime suspect and resident evangelist of the church, Evangelist Ugochi Orisakwe, aged 47 years, alongside her gang members, namely Chidi Orisakwe, aged 34 years, Pauline Wabunwane, aged 42 years, Elizabeth Uzoma, aged 61, and Chibweze Joy, aged 31 years, were all arrested and taken to the station. The victim, Miss Amarachi Okechukwu Dioku, was rescued unhurt with a 5-month-old pregnancy and was immediately taken to government hospital for treatment. She was later reunited with her parent amidst jubilation. On interrogation, Evangelist Ugochi Orisakwe confessed to have been using the church as a place where young girls were kept impregnated, and after delivery the girls were paid off and the baby sold to rich and childless clients. Meanwhile, investigation is ongoing and efforts are on to arrest other members of the syndicate who are on the run. And from Imo State to move over to Ondo State, where the security agency network codenamed Amotekun Corps has arrested 3 herdsmen and 56 cows for allegedly violating the anti-grazing law at Awara, a farm settlement in Ikare axis of the state. The victims were arrested at Iwara community in Kare Akoko, headquarters of Akoko northeast of Ondo State. Speaking at the agency's headquarters in Akure, Commander of Amotekun Corps, Adetunji Adeleye, said it is no longer business as usual since the enforcement of anti-grazing law in Ondo State. He warned that leaders should tell others to do their businesses without creating conflict. The culprits were mandated to pay the stipulated fine stated in the anti-grazing law. The Siriki Hausa Akungba Akoko, Alhaji Idris Jamil Ismaila thanked the governor of Ondo State for allowing them to settle out of court. He promised to sensitize his people on the implications of violating the anti-grazing law.
Cows were kept somewhere in the custody of Amotekun Corps in Ikare, but we can't tell you where they are. As usual for them, you can hear the chairman of Miyetti Allah, who said he's going to educate the members on the need for peaceful coexistence with farmers and the government. And the only way they could relate at that level is to comply with the provisions of the anti-grazing law.
The system has changed, completely changed. It has taken another dimension, not the way it used to be before. So each and every one of them should be very, very careful not to destroy people's property again.
And from Ondo State to move to Oyo State, where 2 persons have been confirmed dead in Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, when a mold of high-hill clay collapsed on them. The unfortunate incident occurred on Thursday night at the site of warehouse still under construction and close to the compound Command Secondary School, Akpata, in Idu local government area of the state. It was gathered that the owner of the site, identified as Adebayo Idube, and another person whose identity has not been established were the victims of the incident. Correspondent Kundiji learned that some residents of the area alerted officials of the State Fire Service and officers of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps of the collapse. Speaking to our correspondent on the incident, the Director of Operations, Oyo State Fire Service, Engineer Adeleke Ismail, who confirmed the incident, said his men rushed to the scene for rescue operation.
The incident that happened at Akpata yesterday, so our office was called. So we received the distress calls around 19:58 p.m. That is in the night. So immediately we received the distress calls. So we turned out our men to the scene of the incident. So on getting to the scene of the incident, normally what we have been told by the man that called us that is Mr. Aremu. Okay. So he's the one that called us to the scene of the incident.
He appealed to others undertaking such projects to employ the service of professionals in order to avoid a repeat of the incident.
The message that I want to pass across of everybody, that anybody that wants to engage on any construction or anything that, so they have to pass through normal protocols. So therefore, they're supposed to involve all the professionals that they are supposed to examine the place if it is safe to work or it is not safe.
Officers of the Federal and Oyo State Fire Service, Western Nigeria Security Network were said to have carried out the rescue operation at the scene. The people of Makurdi, Guma, and Gwe East and West local government areas of Benue State are calling on the federal government to redeem the pledge of the 10 billion naira for the rehabilitation, reconstruction, and resettlement of internally displaced persons (IDP) in the state. Elders and chieftains of Mida PDP Forum from the 4 council areas led by its chairman, Engineer Samuel Eto'o, made the call in Makurdi while briefing newsmen. They cautioned the Minister of Special Duties and Intergovernmental Affairs, Senator George Akume's declaration of war on Benue people instead of helping to redeem the 10 billion naira fund federal government pledged to resettle IDPs. The group expresses disappointment in Senator Akume's last media outing, restating that the devastation of these Benue communities by armed herders displacing over 1.5 million who are still in various IDP camps with over 5,000 people slaughtered, maimed and raped is worrisome. They wondered why Senator George Akume has chosen the path of praise singing at the expense of the plight of its people.
Remember also that not less than 18 out of the 23 local government areas in Benue State have directly suffered the pain of atrocities committed by terrorist headsmen. Instead of pressing the federal government to redeem this pledge of 10 billion for the rehabilitation, reconstruction, and resettlement of IDPs.
They pledged their support for Governor Samuel Otom for defending the Benue people and encouraged the governor to remain dogged in his fight against enemies of the state.
Who has been governor for 8 years and senator for 12 years and enjoyed the support of same Benue people, we seek that a democratically elected government be dismantled through such a crude and illegal means, just at an attempt to blackmail, mischief, and backstab the governor and indeed the entire people of Benue State.
It has been observed that students in tertiary institutions of learning across the country have the potential to become whatsoever they so desire, provided Nigerian leaders create an enabling environment for them to thrive. The Vice-Chancellor of Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, Professor Felix Salako, gave the assertion while speaking with Galaxy TV News shortly after unveiling a legacy project initiated by the Michael Oloyede-led Student Union Government of the institution. He said the majority of Nigerian students have the wherewithal to take the country to laudable height following the impressive conduct students within the FUNAB community have comported themselves.
The enabling environment must be provided by leaders. Many of them have great potentials in terms of contribution to the greatness of this country. Quite a number of talents. And you see one or two of them, some of them, when they leave the shores of Nigeria, they get to advanced countries, they perform excellently well.
On his part, FUNAB Students Union President Michael Oloyede said the project became necessary following years of neglect, as well as rebrand the image of the university. He, however, urged his colleagues to contribute their quota towards nation building.
One of the things that actually geared us is to leave a sustainable legacy in order for the subsequent administration to leverage on. So, and as it stands now, at least we've tried as much as possible to create a structure that the next administration can actually build on. And I can tell you that at least if it is actually built on, definitely in 5 years' time, so what we actually be having, as long as the student union and FUNAB at large, will be something very, very massive.
One thing about FUNAB is that many people used to think FUNAB is a place where the only thing we do is just read, that there's no time for unwinding. And like you know, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy. So that was what brought about this initiative, that we want to get a platform whereby we can fraternize, like socially, politically. All the students can have a meeting point.
Government at all levels in Nigeria has been advised on the need to take concrete steps towards reducing the prevalence of malaria in the country. The country director, Ochukwu Keyamu, gave the advice while addressing pregnant women, nursing mothers, among others, in medical outreach held at Okeletu Primary Healthcare Center. Keyamu revealed that about 27% cases of malaria in the world occurs in Nigeria, hence the need for all families to be wary of mosquito bite by taking necessary precautions. She disclosed that the group remains committed to well-being and healthy living of Nigerians, which, according to her, necessitated the End Malaria Project in Africa, cum donation of drugs, malaria preventive test kits, and insecticide mosquito-treated net to the primary healthcare facility. The country director described malaria as a serious public health challenge that should not be taken for granted, while another speaker of the event, Honorable Motunrayo Alogba, admonished beneficiaries to make judicious use of the nets for the benefit of their children and entire family. The project is ongoing in 3 states of the Federation.
The End Malaria Project, as the name signifies, it means we want to try to end malaria in Africa, starting from Nigeria, which has the highest burden. Malaria is very, very critical. As I said, somebody lost a daughter last month. Malaria affecting children can cause loss of red blood cells, which is called anemia.
Time in Jede here, and we are really grateful. And we are looking forward to more support. You know we are libertarians. So come back, get used to it because we keep in touch. Yeah.
As Nigeria joins other countries to mark this year's World Suicide Prevention Day, investigations have shown that there has been an upsurge in suicide in Nigeria, especially among young people in the last 12 months. Galaxy's Valerie Chioma has more in this report.
Every year on the 10th of September, World Suicide Prevention Day is observed, which is aimed to provide worldwide commitments and measures to prevent suicide. According to the World Health Organization, Nigeria's increasing and alarming rate of deaths by suicide ranked the highest in West Africa, 5th in Africa and 15th in the world. Also, every second there is someone who ends his or her life in the world. When calculated, it is almost 8 million individuals per year worldwide who die by suicide. The theme for this year is Creating Hope Through Action. The day reflects the need for collective action to address this urgent public health issue. WHO says suicide is one of the leading causes of deaths worldwide and the fourth leading cause of death among 15 to 19-year-olds. In Nigeria, suicide cases have been recorded in 22 states in the last 12 months. Also, 85 people have reportedly killed themselves in Nigeria, an increase from the 79 recorded in 2018 and 66 in 2017. The Suicide Research and Prevention Initiative says over 40% suicide cases recorded in Nigeria are people below the age of 30. International Association for Suicide Prevention encourages people contemplating suicide to share their stories and seek professional help. Psychologists say preventing suicide is a collective responsibility and that everyone needs to work together by playing their roles. Government, employers, landlords, parents and other family members have roles in not driving people to commit suicide. Suicide has a ripple effect on an individual's family, friends, colleagues and community, but it is however preventable and several steps can be taken to help those who are vulnerable. Popular American poet Maya Angelou once said, "I've learned that no matter what happens or how bad it seems today, life does go on and it will get better tomorrow." Valerie Chioma, Galaxy TV News, Lagos.
All Progressive Congress Youth Coalition for Change has called on all citizens, irrespective of political party affiliation and religious background, to join hands with President Muhammadu Buhari in surmounting the current security challenges in the country. Leader of the coalition, Comrade Stanley Phillips, made the call at a press conference in Abuja Friday. He said the coalition is soliciting for more international support to beef up security in the country before 2023 general election. The coalition, however, called on the immediate past governor of Bauchi State, Barrister Muhammad Abubakar, to offer himself for humanity service and run for the position of the national chairman of the ruling party during the forthcoming national convention of the party.
View the current insecurity across the country with great concern and call on all citizens, irrespective of political party affiliation, religious background, culture, and ethnicity, to join hands with the government of President Muhammadu Buhari, GCFR.
The last has not been heard of the just concluded local government election held in Kaduna State, with the PDP accusing APC of using the electoral umpire, SEACOM, to rig and manipulate outcome of the election in its favor. Mr. Lawal, who was PDP Kaduna Central senatorial candidate in the 2019 general election, noted that winning 8 out of 12 wards by PDP in the just concluded local government election was a pointer to what would play out in 2023, with the opposition taking over the seat of power at state and federal level. They said the economy is in tatters, Naira has plunged to a sorry state, unemployment in its worst stage, and the government seemed unconcerned about the masses. Kaduna people in particular are the most unfortunate of all because they have a governor who does not have an atom of compassion for them. All that matters to him is to inflict hardship and more hardship on his state. The stakeholders suggest the use of drones, CCTV cameras and modern surveillance equipment, among others, to help complement effort of security operatives.
My call is with the new innovation now in 21st century. The military are doing their best, but we need to go back to the drawing board and restructure the security architecture of the nation, Nigeria.
People did not come out the way it's supposed to be. So we are going to tell them that we are going to have regard to the government. Everybody knows the way we are suffering in this country. They have, in short, what the government of this current government did to poor people is we just tell them that they should come out beyond expectation. It's so sad, from the federal to the state, from the world.
Ahead Saturday's by-election in Isoko South Constituency 1 in Delta State, the Police Commissioner Mohammed Ali has announced the restriction of movement from 10 p.m. today, Friday, 10th September, to 4 p.m. tomorrow, Saturday, when the election is expected to end. The Police Commissioner Mohammed Ali, in a statement signed by his spokesperson, Edafi Bright, said the command has massively deployed its personnel to Isoko South and ensuring a hitch-free exercise. The Delta CP warns mischief to be enforced. He called on stakeholders to ensure they educate their supporters on the need to maintain peace and conduct themselves in an orderly manner. You're still on to Galaxy Television News. Time for us to go for a break. We'll be right back with more report. Stay with us. It is good to know you're still with us on Galaxy Television News. The coalition of civil society organizations under the aegis state of the economy that have further plunged millions of Nigerians into downward spiral of global poverty index. The convener, Declan Ihekera, who shows great concern on the present insecurity challenges and opened argument that the Nigerian state, like its counterparts in Africa and other countries of the developing world, underperforms due to lack of state capacity to deal with the contemporary complexities of governance, knowing that without good governance, a country makes itself vulnerable to drivers of insecurity. Galaxy's Daniel Tenimo reports that the protesters have shown total dissatisfaction on the way and manner.
Senior army officers, it's an indication that terrorism is being treated with kid gloves.
The convener further noted that bad leadership is basically the problem with this country, and the demand for total transparency from the led administration of President Muhammadu Buhari.
I demand that the National Assembly raise a bill, or that the President raise an executive bill that bars public officials from traveling abroad
from medicals and restrict public officials, wards and children from attending private schools, let alone schooling in diaspora. It should also be clear to the powers that be that the trio of Nnamdi Kanu, Sunday Adeyemo Igboho, and Sowore are not the problems of this country. Bad governance, bad leadership is the problem with this country.
The national chairman of Labour Party, Julius Abure, has called on President Muhammadu Buhari not to be tired, but to address headlong the incessant security challenges across the country. Abure, in a State of the Nation address to journalists in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital, said Nigerians are not asking for too much, but for their lives to be secured. On its part, the Labour Party candidate for the November 6 Anambra governorship election, Obiora Agbasimalo, said Nigerians deserve good governance. The Labour Party also admonished political parties contesting the governorship election in Anambra State to conduct themselves peacefully.
Of Nigeria today is not asking for welfare. Welfare is a luxury as we speak. But what the people is saying, government, simply secure our lives so that we can take care of ourselves. And the government, you will agree with me, at all levels have failed in carrying out that responsibility. The corporate existence of the country is seriously being threatened. And my advice to him is that he must rise to the occasion as the commander-in-chief and deal with the issue of security.
The youths are the key, because it's those same youths that negative-minded politicians would want to use to commit political infractions as for thuggery and toutery. There's anyone like toutery, So the youths need to be engaged, economically engaged.
Up next is Starasoma International Scene.
Welcome to news from the international scene. A new government has been announced in Lebanon over a year after the previous administration quit following the devastating Beirut port explosion. Najib Mikati, Lebanon's richest man, becomes prime minister, a position he has held twice before. His appointment, along with the naming of a new cabinet, ends months of political paralysis. It comes as Lebanon grapples with some of the severest domestic crises it has faced in its history. The value of the currency has collapsed, unemployment and inflation have soared, electricity, fuel and medicine are in short supply, and the country has been rocked by nearly 2 years of protest calling for wholesale political reforms. Lebanon has been without a proper functioning government since then Prime Minister Hassan Diab resigned days after a massive blast on 4 August 2020 which destroyed Beirut port and the surrounding area. The explosion caused by improperly stored ammonium nitrate killed 203 people, injured at least 6,000 others and left billions of dollars of damage. The disaster, coming in the midst of the pandemic, triggered a wave of outrage against the government and the Lebanon's political system. Protesters blamed the blast on corruption, incompetence, and a system of patronage where jobs are given in return for political support. The event compounded growing anger, which has been building since the start of financial crisis in the late 2019. In the last few months alone, the Lebanese currency has lost 90% of its value, while 3/4 of the population are now living below the poverty line. The advent of a new cabinet, expected to comprise technocrats approved by rival parties, is likely to pave way for talks with the International Monetary Fund on a rescue package. Moving on to Palestine, Palestinians across the occupied West Bank and East Jerusalem are gathering for a day of rage on Friday in support of the 6 Palestinian prisoners who escaped from an Israeli prison. Heeding the call of Hamas and other Palestinian resistance groups, they are also protesting against the punitive measures that the Israeli jail authorities have imposed on imprisoned members of the Islamic Jihad, another group active in the Gaza Strip. In the wake of a brazen escape from one of the country's most secure prisons, several relatives of the escaped prisoners have been arrested, including 3 people on Friday morning as part of an Israeli manhunt to capture them. The 6 men turned out of the high-security Gilboa jail on Monday, triggering celebration and solidarity protests in the Palestinian territories. Israeli forces were on the second highest level of alert on Friday, below declaring a state of emergency, prepared for protests in the occupied Palestinian territories and possible riots within Israeli jails. Abdallah Abu Rami, an activist from Bilin in the West Bank, traveled to Beita in the north to take part in the protests. Abu Rami told newsmen it is their duty as Palestinians and activists to support the escaped prisoners. He said it is very good news that they escaped and they all support them. Still on the international scene, moving on to North America, the Cuban government has begun to vaccinate children as young as 2 years old for COVID-19, the island state media reported, in a bid to get kids back into classrooms. While other countries have said they will eventually vaccinate children, Cuba is believed to be the first to give COVID-19 vaccine to toddlers. In September, it declared that its homegrown vaccine was safe to give to young children. Throughout the pandemic, most in-person classes have been suspended on the island. Instead of going to school, children watch educational programs on television for hours each day. Home internet remains a rarity in the communist-run nation. Cuba has largely focused on developing its own vaccine rather than depend on other countries for the medications. Local scientists say the Cuban-made vaccines are safe and effective, but so far have provided little data to outside observers. The government has said it will seek World Health Organization's approval for its vaccines. To date, according to the Cuban Health Ministry, over 4 million people have been fully vaccinated. The government has not said how many children have been vaccinated, but said a pediatric vaccination campaign began this week in the province of Cienfuegos, where the healthcare system has faced dire shortage with a steep increase in new cases and deaths. The Cuban government also said it hoped to vaccinate over 90% of the population of 11.2 million people before reopening international borders in mid-November. Lastly, on the international scene, still in North America, U.S. President Joe Biden is now sweeping new COVID-19 measures that requires workers at large companies to be vaccinated or face weekly testing. The measures also include a vaccine mandate for millions of federal government workers and come as cases in the country are surging. Hospitals in several states have reached capacity amid the spread of the more transmissible Delta variant. The new requirement covers over 100 million workers. This is not about freedom or personal choice. It's about protecting yourself and those around you, the president said as he unveiled this plan. More than 650,000 Americans have died with COVID-19 since last year. Some 80 million people in the U.S. remain unvaccinated. Mr. Biden announced this plan in a speech at the White House on Thursday. He said he had directed the U.S. Department of Labor to require all private businesses with 100 or more staff to mandate the jab or request proof of a negative coronavirus test from employees at least once a week. Nearly 17 million healthcare workers at facilities receiving federal benefits will also face the same requirements, it said. The plan triggered an immediate backlash among some Republicans who argue the government should not play a role in the health decision of individuals. South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster said Biden and the radical Democrats stumped their noses at the Constitution. And that's all from news from the international scene.
And with those international stories, we end the news for now. But before we go for more updates and latest news, visit our website, galaxytvonline.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Galaxy TV Nigeria. You can follow and interact with us on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Galaxy TV. Don't forget to follow and tag us on our Instagram page at Official Galaxy TV. You can also avail our eyewitness feature via WhatsApp. If you have breaking news around you, simply share your story by sending short clips or videos of the news on 0818-6666-669. Our social media platforms are user-friendly and can always accommodate your live updates and comments. And that's a wrap. Thanks for watching Galaxy Television News for this time. I'm Solomon Offem. Bye-bye.